What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscribe or die trying. You see the thumbnail. People of color who help gentrification. I was just going to do black people, but there's black people who aren't black American that's involved in this also. But just predominantly for us as black Americans. You know, ADOS, FBA, whatever you want to call it. But I'm going to add everybody else. So first you got the church. The church help gentrification, because as the church used to be a place for pooling resources and networking, it became a business to actually take those resources and buy up real estate in the community, but make the housing unaffordable, or for some people affordable, right? Depends on who you're talking to. So instead of building a community, it was the first on the front lines of gentrifying it. So they helped. Then for me, in particular, I'm in Gen X. I'm at the tail end of Gen X. I would say baby boomers. And the reason I would say that is because when I was a kid, there were a lot of baby boomers whose parents were in the generation, I guess the silent generation, greatest generation, whatever you want to call it, who inherited property from their parents or grandparents. And basically, they took that property and did nothing with it. They partied and had fun and never expanded on what they had gotten. So the money that they received was all for, I just got to say, there were a lot of homes and a lot of families that went under because of drugs, alcohol, shopping, and partying. Just pretty much. Hundreds of thousands of dollars have gone into those endeavors for people who didn't have to pay rent or anything. They never expanded to make more money. They just kicked it with the vices. And thus, they taught a generation to kick it with vices. The difference was their generation under them didn't have the money to do it. So part of this lack of growth and lack of growing the community and owning more of the community came from that. So the baby boomers helped gentrification. Now it's in Gen X, I would say gangs very much so help gentrification. All of this, you dealing drugs and, I don't want to work for the white man and I'm working under the system, is full of it because you was buying your dope from the white man at some particular point anyways. So with all the gangs, the gang activity, the territory activity, the violence, you kept the property value down. So as much as, and then when people came to buy up, because, part of this came from when I was watching Startup. And that was like, the Haitians working under Ronald couldn't understand why Ronald wasn't on the same thing I think Jay was on prior, which Jay was on that I'm a general, it's war 24/7. Ronald wasn't on that. Because basically the city of Miami was growing around Little Haiti, and they started gentrifying Little Haiti because Little Haiti didn't understand the money game. It was just all war. But so when it was time to have money, they didn't have it. Other people had it. So it ain't your street anymore. How funny how the gangs is my territory until a group of people buy up the block and say, we got construction workers here, we got the police here, we're just going to drive you out. It's funny how nobody understood that. It's like, well, this is my block. No, it ain't. You don't own nothing. So the gangs made sure people wasn't going to own anything. And you terrorized the people who did own stuff to the point that they left. And then they left the neighborhood to you and it was your block, but you didn't own anything. So you aided, you helped gentrify the community. Then we got the immigrants, who came from the black immigrants, whether they're from the Caribbean or from Africa, who came into the community to blend into the community But also, when they helped tear down the community, you know, with either jumping in the same gangs or having their own gangs, they were all lumped into black. So then when they could leave, it was not a stain on their community. You know, Little Haiti in the show is because it's Little Haiti, right? You know, it's not, you know, you got like Liberty City, overtime, that's looked at as your black Little Haiti is looked at as Little Haiti. So that comes from that. So now you help gentrify the community, but at the same time, when you say, see, we're different than those people. So you aid it by being the quote unquote black person who's black when it's convenient. Then you got the people of color who they may set up businesses, be rude to the community, but also bring crime to the community. And they don't want to see it better. So they will also initiate some of the gang violence that's between two territories so they can keep their business rolling. You know, they were some of the people you buy the guns from or buy the drugs from. But they were also the people who had their own little prostitution or what is that called? It's not just a child abduction, but trafficking, sex trafficking. They were those people, right? And the minute somebody would try to clean up the community, even the gangs would come together like, let's clean it up, but somehow it'll blow up. You know, normally it was some of those people of color who had to create a beef when there was peacetime to make sure that they can keep doing what they was doing and ultimately help gentrify the community. So for me, this is how this stuff keeps happening, you know. And when people say, let's build, and it's like, we still want these same groups of people involved in the building without taking into consideration these are the same group of people that help to tear it down, that it could be gentrified. And they have no smoke for the people, the gentrifiers. It's only for each other when we actually want to build a community and not have it be gentrified. But that's my thoughts. Like, share, subscribe, or die. Try and catch you on the next one. Peace.